You're listening to MedX, the Medical Extrusion Podcast. Presented by U.S. Extruders. Extrude with confidence. Custom extrusion equipment designed for you and your application.
Welcome back to the MedX podcast. Today we're going to be talking about balloon technologies, and our guest is Dan Kasprzyk, founder and CEO of Poba Medical. Poba Medical specializes in contract design, manufacture, and development of medical balloon technologies. Dan, thanks so much for joining us today on the MedX podcast.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
Great. Dan, I think our listeners would be very interested to hear about your interesting background and in particularly how you got started in the medtech industry.
Yeah, no, that's takes me to the Wayback Machine, but my start was really a chance job at a small startup called ACS in the Bay Area, which was my really first job out of college, and I think working on balloon angioplasty technologies for just a wide range of applications, and 100 or so employees, rapid growth. Really got the taste for the early stage startup. Learned a lot about balloons, learned a lot about catheters, working closely with clinician entrepreneurs, clinician key opinion leaders. But yeah, so it was really that first foray into the medtech industry was really through the getting that someone took a chance on me at a little startup in the Bay Area, and from there I was ruined. I was drawn to the startup feel. I mean, I wanted to work with small teams, roll up your sleeves and really develop cool technologies that are game changers. And that was 1987, so it was a while ago. But that I tell people all the time, it's that a lot of times that first job is so critical to your eventual career path. And for me, it then took me to Spectranetics and early vascular solutions, machine solutions, simple surgical, Poba Medical. So it was that early stuff that gets you on the path.
Yeah. So you mentioned about clinicians and entrepreneurs and startups. I know that you've done a lot this year with your clinician inventor program. Can you give our listeners a high level overview of this program and any success stories that you might be able to share?
Yeah, so we really launched it full force in January, and the biggest success was me recruiting a former Gore associate who I had worked with when I was at W.L. Gore & Associates in Flagstaff, Warren Cutright, to join our team. Warren is a vet by training, but had 30 years experience working closely with clinicians in the pediatric cardiology space. So that was step number one. I mean, we've now worked on close to 10 active clinician entrepreneur projects, and these are projects that clinicians are either losing sleep over, or they just have this idea and they want to take it through the development path, and they all think it's a $500 million idea and it's going to sell for $1 billion because they've heard the stories or they've read about the stories. But we try to calibrate them a little bit and help them get an understanding of what it takes to really get a product on the market in the medical device industry. So maybe help them raise funding, maybe help them kill an idea early. I mean, nobody wants to invest, tens of millions and then realize that you missed some early clinical component that's critical to the product. So really helping them through prototyping. We'll help them with capital if we can help point them in the right direction, and then also aligning them with the right regulatory consultants, so they really understand their path to market, whether it's a class 1 or a 510K or a PMA. So our early success actually was a veterinary application. So it was kind of a novel urinary drainage catheter, and since it was a vet product, the regulatory hurdles were very scalable, and we were able to get it in 12 to 18 months, get through the design phase and get it ready for commercialization. So that one's really high on our list right now, and we're aggressively moving it to the commercial phase, and volumes from 50,000 to several 100,000 units a year. So that was a really successful project, but it really spans the it spans the paradigm of applications from gene therapy to oncology, interventional cardiology, ENT, GI. We're finding applications throughout the body in wide ranging areas, and it's all really innovative. So it makes for some really fun projects, and we're able to prototype quickly, and then we're able to develop that initial concept for them to either do their bench testing, their early animal testing, or just make design decisions that are critical at that early stage. And it's really taking off. And I think it's having somebody other than me that can really put the pedal to the metal on it. And Warren has been just a great addition to our team.
Oh, that's interesting. So a lot of the prototype bench type work on a development process to commercialization, how do you transfer, V&V and serial production? How do you handle the back end part of the life cycle?
Yeah. So we have partners. We've partnered with a company called Poba Medical. They now have a manufacturing facility in Texas. We've partnered with a number of other contract manufacturers that will take the back end V&V and design process. But on the vet products, we take it all the way through packaging. Okay. So I think we are positioning ours to be able to handle a lot more of the full device assembly as we grow the business. And I'll also add that the projects from the clinician entrepreneurs that really pique our interest have balloons on them or have some balloon component, but that's not a showstopper. If there's enough design input and design capability with the projects, we're happy to take them on and help along the way. So many are granted either by hospitals or NIH or other areas, but it's been I'd say the majority are balloon based. So it really fits nicely into our core capability at Poba.
Excellent. Let's talk about your partnership with Chamfr, the online marketplace for medical device components. I know that Poba was one of the original sellers back about 5 years ago with Chamfr. Can you talk about how that relationship has prospered and transitioned over the years?
Yeah, it's been I've been called a lot of things, but I think Chamfr's largest cheerleader is probably one of my I need to change my title on LinkedIn because it's just a great way to fill the funnel from the top of the funnel. And then, Chamfr's done their job, and then it's up to us to extrapolate and push some of these opportunities through the funnel. But I met Chamfr when I think we had 3 part numbers. So we had no business getting into a partnership with Chamfr with 3 part numbers, but I was just convinced by my early meetings with Katie and Julie, and I think it was more than anything, it wasn't their sales pitch. It was the look in their eye. I just knew that they were going to be successful, and they were going to do whatever it takes to build their online marketplace. And some of it's luck. I mean, meeting them at the time, we early in their journey and early in our journey, but it was creating that relationship and not thinking too much about, is it easier for me to build my online store? Because it's not really difficult, but I had much better things to work on, building out the company, developing our expertise in different materials and different elements of the business that, an online marketplace tucked away in my website was not high on my list. And I think if I wouldn't have seen the look in their eyes early, I probably would have made the consideration. But once I chose that path, we quickly challenged our team to go from 3 parts to 10 to 20 to hundreds. We've crossed over 200 unique balloon parts on their marketplace this year. So it was a lot of effort by a lot of people, but I was and you know him well, Steve. So
yep.
I was convinced early on, and I could tell that they had that entrepreneurial startup drive, that they were gonna be successful, and they were gonna have, they're gonna have lots of stumbles like we all do. And I think the stumbles make us better.
Yeah. When you think about starting with them 5 years ago and only having a few SKUs now 5 years later, are some of those early leads that you generated through Chamfr, have any of those gone into higher volume production?
Yeah, no, it's pretty common, and really that's our goal with Chamfr, is to be able to ride with the the customers as long as we can. And if they're a PMA or a 510K product, it's, you're talking about years, but we've had a couple that have, that come to mind right off the top of my head. But large companies like Hologic, Inari Medical, a company called Capel, they all started with a bag of 5 balloons, and those 5 balloons then morphed into stocking orders for commercial launch, and and all those applications. So, and we have a bunch in queue. So I think 2023, there's that work we put in 4 years ago, I think is going to give us an opportunity to continue to establish the relationships with these customers.
That's great. It definitely works, and there's a lot of success stories out there about sellers with chamfr and how they've started with some small prototype orders and gone into production with their company customers. So that's great. Let's talk about some of the novel balloon technologies that you've been working on, and we'll start with the partnership that you have with Huaki to add micro patterns to the surface of the balloon for grip or traction, so that you could grip between the balloon and the target site, either within the GI tract or with some other body lumen. Talk about that design that you're working on with Huaki.
Yeah, so we were approached, it's a few years ago, a customer that was working in the neurovascular space. They were having a common event that technically is called watermelon seeding, where you kind of squeeze the balloon out of the target, whatever that target may be. So they were looking to add traction to the balloon surface, and I don't exactly remember how we found Huaki, but their micro grip technology seemed like a really, really viable path to just add that surface friction and traction that's required in this one specific application. But it really was initially we were just taking sleeves of material and wrapping them around the balloon to try to create these high traction regions within the balloon. But presently we're actually working on ways to impart their microgrip technology into the balloon during the blow molding process, so that you're not adding any additional materials or any additional structures. Create this ultra high traction microgrip into the balloon itself, and we've got urethanes that are high compliant. We have nylons that are non-compliant, PET. So we're looking across the material spectrum to try to add traction in different applications. And it might be for holding a scaffold or a tissue valve, or it could be just anchoring in a lumen, so that you can then bring tools down through the lumen. So you want to make sure that the balloon itself doesn't become dislodged during that procedure. So we're really early in the game. It's there's a lot of technical discovery that we have to do. And Huaki's been great to work with. They're ambitious and hungry and a startup, and they want to find new applications. And I think the balloon is just a really, really good avenue for them to impart this technology that really is, there's nothing like it that I've seen for adding traction. You can add sticky surfaces and knurl or abrade surfaces to get that extra traction, but this is imparting micro grip into the balloon wall itself. And many of these balloon walls are sub 1,000th of an inch, so a 15 to 20 micron peak on the grip surface gives you enormous addition to your sliding friction.
Very interesting. Let's turn our attention to some exciting balloon technology you're working on related to weeping balloons. And hear me out on this. Tell me if I'm on the right track, because I started to do a little research on this. So you're developing a film wrap balloon utilizing a microporous membrane from ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, UHMW. And that allows you to very precisely deliver or weep drugs or other therapies to a target site, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not a traditional blow molding process. It's a process that creates the balloon structure through integrating this film technology in a way that gives you the ability to control balloon growth or diameter. And then also, as you control balloon growth or diameter, you control the pore size of what you're trying to weep through. So it does a very, very good job of holding whatever the reagent is during the application before you ask it to be released. So if you want a balloon that maintains a 6 millimeter diameter, but you want it to start to leak or weep at say 4 atmospheres of input pressure, that can be designed into the film tube itself. And the beauty of the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene is that it's easy to bond to. It's, it can be bonded to nylons, it can be bonded to polyurethanes, it can be thermally welded. So we don't fight the issues that you sometimes fight with expanded PTFE materials that are, ultra high lubricity, great pore control, but just difficult to bond. So the materials we're working with come from a large Dutch company called DSM. So they're working with us on the technology, and then we have another local Flagstaff startup company called Sentient Engineering that is really our partner in the weeping balloon technology. But again, just like the Huaki high traction, it's where do our customers want us to go, and we want to find partners in different areas that allow us to solve the problem, solve them quickly, and then be able to deliver a quick turn solution to that specific customer for different applications. So I think we're just at the tip of the spear on both these applications, and the new applications or the new opportunities and unmet clinical needs, I think are gonna continue to surface as we get the word out about what we can accomplish with some of these engineered materials, and then using them to deliver reagents or whatever might need to be delivered in certain regions or certain diameters. It's really, really advanced technology that I think, we've been able to achieve with laser drilling of standard PET or nylon materials, but this is a much better way to contain the reagent during the delivery process. And then when you want to ask it to release, you're able to force it to release into the specific site that you're targeting. So I think there's a lot of upside for this technology.
Oh, that's very interesting. Is that I know it's early stage, but is that a balloon in balloon design where the inner balloon is inflated with saline maybe, and the outer balloon is used to deliver the drug or perfusion?
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I think we also have the ability to just use the film tube as a balloon itself, so that whatever we pressurize inside of the balloon, that will force the balloon to achieve a diameter at some semi-compliant characteristic, and then once the pores open at a physical input pressure, it then starts to slowly leak. So you can use a balloon in balloon. That's another way to achieve it, where you have a sleeve of ultra high molecular weight polyethylene over a balloon, and then that balloon forces it. So I really think there's so many different design opportunities with this technology that we're just starting to really discover different ways for us to use the technology within custom applications.
Excellent. Very exciting technology. Thanks for sharing both of those examples.
Yeah, no problem.
Earlier, you talked about your growth, and I know that a couple months ago, maybe 4 months ago, you put in a new clean room, right? And you mentioned that you're taking delivery of several balloon forming machines and other equipment. And I think you also said that you're going to kind of get more into the contract manufacturing space for catheters and catheter subassemblies. What can you share about that development?
Yeah, so we're really looking at, adding process capability, across the paradigm of catheter assembly. So we have unique geographical advantages with Machine Solutions living in the same business complex as us. But balloon folding, marker band swaging, laminating, Steger braiding, coiling, contract track testing, 3D printing. We're bringing all these technologies in. Tipping, another process that's close to us. So, all those steps from tip to tail. I think we have the ability to offer a really clean solution for customers as we grow the relationship and grow the partnerships. And it still starts with chamfer and it still starts with a balloon, but I think our ability to provide that additional value added component to their supply chain is going to continue to allow us to grow. And we're gonna pick and choose projects, because I think we're manufacturing in Flagstaff, Arizona, so we're not taking advantage of low labor rates that come offshore or other places. So we've got to pick the right projects. But I think with the ability to access the process technology to, manufacture high quality medical devices the same way all the big boys manufacture, really gives us an advantage to grow that element of our business. And we also, I mentioned, we partner with Beyond Medical in Texas, and Beyond is also a contract manufacturer, but they give us some they give us some bandwidth when it comes to just full device assemblies where we're maybe working on the balloon component, but we're not quite ready for the full RX catheter design. So they've been a really key partner for us.
That's great. Yeah, maybe we'll have to get you back on the podcast in 6 months so you can give us an update on some of these, developments, technical developments, and also your expansion programs. But
I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. I appreciate it, Dan. It's been great to have you on the podcast today.
Well, thanks for having me. And I'm sure we'll see you around, Steve.
All right. Absolutely. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for listening to MedX, the Medical Extrusion Podcast, presented by US Extruders. Please subscribe to make sure you're getting the latest episodes. All links are available in the show notes.